What's up, guys and gals of the movement world? It's Sean Mishka, the Movement Miyagi, coming to you once again on behalf of Football Beyond the Stats in our Mover of the Year deep dive on Lamar Jackson. This week, or in this game rather, we are looking at Week 10 against Lamar's division rival yet again, just as we did in Week 5, the Cincinnati Bengals. But this time, now they are at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Now, one thing that we must mention here in week 10 as opposed to week 5, later in the season, players are starting to find their way, but they're also battling through a lot of different things: physical, mental, emotional, psychological, physiological. Some things which are key performance indicators that they're finding their way around, particularly affordances for teammates and alongside of their teammates, kind of finding their fit as to who they are, but also key performance inhibitors, pressure, anxiety, built up fatigue, that's more chronic than the like, as well as pressure continuing to build here. Cincinnati Bengals sitting at 4-3, Baltimore Ravens sitting at 6-3, so 4-5 or 6-3. Also, the thing that we must mention here, playing in Baltimore on Thursday Night Football, different than their week 1 or week 5 matchup, rather, their first matchup of the season. And here at M&T Bank Stadium on Bermuda grass, different surface, nighttime, Thursday night, short week. You guys kind of see where I'm going with this. The constraints coalescing together, how context shapes content, and how we can investigate the most skillful performers based on how they behave across situations and across conditions. Just as we did in week 5, we looked at 5 plays. This week, we're going to look at multiple plays as well. I think 3 or 4 plays in particular. So, this first one, again, Lamar Jackson, number 8 quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, doing Lamar Jackson type of things. Chaos in the phone booth, doing what only he can do under these types of problematic constraints and slices. In the phone booth, making somebody miss. Remember, if we rewind back, if you were along on the ride for us in the week 5 matchup against the Bengals, when we had a Trey Hendrickson coming in from his left side, his being Lamar's left side, moving from left to right, crashing down, and Lamar scooting up and slicing through the traffic. Now we see it off the right side on this 3rd and 7, and he's got to go pick up a first down with the Ravens trailing late in the second quarter. But you look at the calmness, you look at the composure, you look at the cool, collected nature under the chaos, knowing exactly what he has to work with here. Okay, and I'm going to keep kind of pinpointing a few things, even though this play isn't going to be as flashy as some other ones that we might see from him here. Jermaine Pratt, number 58, gets by the offensive tackle, the right tackle for the Ravens, and Lamar just moves from right to left, scoots up, rides that wave based on what he's feeling about the wave. You know, we often talk about Lamar Jackson being this highly perceptual creature, or I talk about that, right? And that feeds into his adaptability. That feeds in the decisions that he makes. But you see what he might be feeling, okay? Remember this entire movement problem solving process before he delivers this ball to Mark Andrews and lets Mark Andrews, his playmaker, go do what Mark Andrews does, just like so many do when Lamar's in scramble drill. Just go get open, give your guy an opportunity in a space. We follow it up now in the 3rd quarter, the next play on this highlight video. And let's look at what he does here, kind of in relation to that, which what he just did. A different type of problematic slice, a different type of chaos. Okay, we never step in the same river twice. We're not the same man. The river's not the same either. But the chaos in the complexity of said movement problem, there's our guy, Trey Hendrickson, number 91, our all movement team member, yet again, feeling the presence of Lamar Jackson, wondering what in the world this front 4, front 7 for the Bengals needs to do to get number 8 on the ground. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, guys and gals, but what I want to do is just kind of show you, again, across situations, across conditions, Lamar Jackson being able to solve any emerging movement problem where no two movement problems are the same in the movement solution. He's repeating that process of solving the problem again and again by changing nuances of his degrees of freedom across his movement system, perceptual, cognitive, and action. Okay. Let's not miss the forest through the trees, or let's not miss the finger and the moon here. The extreme kinesthetic sense and awareness, which leads to Lamar's perceptual connection to the what is, while still being attuned and sensitive to opportunities to act for not only just running the football, but also for throwing them in chaos, in complexity. No better guy doing it. 3rd and 4 now, just like we saw on 3rd and 7 at the end of the second quarter when he picked it up with Mark Andrews. Now we see him do exactly that here again with Rashad Bateman. Advance. One more play on the highlight film. Now 2nd and 9. We're going to see it again. 3rd quarter, 5 minutes left. In the Ravens, let's look at it again. They find themselves in a familiar situation, familiar conditions against the Cincinnati Bengals. They're down by 14, 21-7 here. 2nd and 9, 5:15 to go in the 3rd. Again, let's remember the collation of constraints. But this testing across situations, as we're seeing, that's the definition of dexterity, but also across conditions. Pressure, anxiety, fatigue, not only chronic, but now in the acute, right? Like what has happened up to this moment in time that might change one's affordances to act. Of course, that's not just for Lamar, but that's for each player on the field. The quarterback sensing them and going through them much more than everybody else. Are we sensing a theme here? Now we see Trey Hendrickson again and his buddies. There we see Sam Hubbard yet again. What in the world do we have to do to get this dude on the ground? Like, put yourself in the movement system, in the intentions of the Cincinnati Bengals front 4 and front 7, or even the entire defense here, as Lamar does, again, things that only Lamar Jackson can do. One of one movement skill. Like a snowflake, we see the movement skill savant do things that other people simply cannot do. Genius type of stuff. And yet on this play, as we're about to get into from the other view and maybe at our 50%, I actually think he could have and should have scored as opposed to being down at the 1. But let's look at this in a little finer detail. Let's unpack this if we could or if we would. So come along for the ride here. Put yourself into Lamar Jackson's human movement system as much as we can, even though Lamar being a little different cat than the rest of us all. Like, look at this as the chaos is coming to him. He just keeps backing up, backing up, backing up. But look at as he's backing up, guys and gals. Let's speculate here, right? We know that he is certainly looking to, okay, maybe even over here. So he's connected to this immediate what is that is presenting this big heightened challenge. Talk about a complex movement problem, more interacting component parts that gets ramped up in complexity because all of a sudden the information that you need to connect to channel your movement to is heightened, right? We see that here. Let's think about it. What else is Lamar attuned and sensitive to? Okay. He's looking deeper. There's a bunch of purple jerseys here, but they're all offensive linemen, right? He can't throw it to any of those guys. And on 2nd and 9, with the line of scrimmage way up here, look at how far back and how comfortable he is in his own skin, being able to solve these complex movement problems. Talk about a complex movement problem that, again, ramped up. Let's take it for what it is, these problem and solution dynamics and their changing states of organization. He's looking downfield, 2nd and 9. He's looking to pick up the first down, and now he knows the further back he gets, he's either got to throw this away or the dude's got to go make a play. Well, this is Lamar Jackson, obviously here with two real threats here, even though there's three, 91, 92, and 98. But 98's kind of out of the mix at defensive tackle. But we see 91, 92 here chasing Lamar Jackson around the arc, around the curve. Where are his eyes as he's doing this? Okay. They are not on the immediate defender, but that he might be feeling out of his periphery. We talked about that in that week 5 matchup. We talked about it before in our 2019 Mover of the Year analysis on Lamar Jackson. Eyes in the back of his head, but also eyes here in his periphery. Okay. Being able to take in some of this scattered vision, trying to connect to the what is. And he uses that at the same time as looking ahead more in regards to these local movement problems by local movement problems, successive and nested affordances, right? Let's not miss the forest through the trees. Special stuff as he runs this corner with the threat, with the challenge, with the perturbation. He's got the ball in his right hand just in case the drop of a hat. He has to deliver that. Once he turns the corner, he's still in passing mode. Shoot, the dude has dropped back 25 yards, right? Like 20, 25 yards here from the line of scrimmage. Okay. He can do that here in this situation. Look at where that ball is, doesn't care, gets out of the outstretched arms in the tackle attempt from 92. Let's look at the eyes. Speculate as to what the eyes might be picking up. Okay? We can see where his head's looking. We can speculate as to what the eyes might be detecting, or in particular, the information about the affordances. So he's looking at this interaction right here, 94 and 64, right? He's expecting Hubbard, now his old friend, to kind of enter this space in this gap. And look at Lamar. Ownership speed, as good as it comes at moving at ownership speed, so he can take in and connect to the information about the what is. Look at him now zero in on that interaction. He gives the left to right signature style juke to pause Hubbard, to bring him in, to put him on a rope. So he can now, he being Jackson, can now look to and through to see what posture and kinematics this cat behind him, now this one or two, I should say, 2 versus 1 plus 1, okay? 2, Lamar Jackson, his offensive lineman, 2 versus 1, Hubbard, +1, who has just entered that problematic slicer snippet of the game, right? And he's able to take in the information about him simultaneously. How do I act in relation to it? Nope, I'm just going to scoot through over here. Ownership speed, find his way. And now I think he missed an opportunity there, but we're going to look at that when the time comes, okay? Because I don't want you guys to miss this as he's just moving at a speed where typically people are in a rush to get where they're going. Not Lamar Jackson. Ownership speed, comfort in his own skin. And notice what I mentioned, and we'll point it out here in a bit. He puts Hubbard on a string along with this interaction, is perceiving informational variables about this interaction, likely his offensive tackle's posture and kinematics, how much space here to the right for Lamar Jackson of this interaction, okay, to the sideline. He might even be, if I'm going to speculate and criticize, okay, he might actually be, even because he becomes so fixated here, posture and kinematics and interpersonal distance, he becomes a little fixated here that he might miss an opportunity to act back to the inside. In fact, I'm surprised we didn't see a Lamar Jackson as he goes from left to right. I'm surprised he didn't move back right, or excuse me, back towards his left, rather, down this path, especially when we see the posture and kinematics at 5.5 yards away of this dude who in a 1v1 situation, where it could be in a bit, isn't going to have the capabilities with this type of space afforded to Lamar, this type of space up here. I don't think he brings him down. That's not the only affordance that I believe that he actually doesn't either select or he just doesn't even perceive because he certainly doesn't act upon it. And I'm going to point that out momentarily. He gets kind of stuck in this vision or this tunnel here, guys and gals. This tunnel from the numbers to the sideline. Okay. He gets stuck behaving in this tunnel. And you guys have heard me offer ideas around movement in a tunnel before. This is the best illustration that we could possibly see of it. But we want to make sure we're able to check the behaviors back to other more open style of movement, right? Not just 2v2 in this tunnel, and then what will ultimately be probably 3v3 here momentarily with what's happening from the 5 on into the goal line. But we have to think of what's happening back from the numbers on into the hashes, or at least Lamar has. And I think he probably wishes he had this one back because he thinks he's going to score, right? And this, we see this ownership. He draws these guys in. Now, more tunnel, another local movement problem, and layered together, layering in context conditioned coupling variability. How the problem is unfolding is directly, perpetually channeling the movement solution, okay, and the organization and integration of it, perceptions, cognitions, and actions. What someone is looking at, what information they might be picking up, how they might be picking it up, not just visual, but haptic as well, okay? Cognitions, intentions, decisions, the thoughts someone is thinking at this moment in time. Notice what I said before about him potentially missing an opportunity to act. Okay. We see a lot of space afforded to him here. Okay. A lot of space afforded to him with some guys in the end zone that are going to come and enter this. Okay. But again, that's a lot of space. I bet Lamar wishes he had this back, but I think he thinks he's going to score. Remember, we're accepting affordances at all time. We're also rejecting some affordances, aka some opportunities to act, and that's what we see from Lamar here. We see this play out. There's that goal line, typically that space in color attracts him, but he's so fixated and focused on that immediate local movement problem. Now, look at all those Bengal jerseys, but also look at the 2 Baltimore Ravens. And Lamar, I think, believes he's just going to be able to scoot by. And he has done this masterfully up to this point. I mean, let's think about what he's done. And here I am criticizing him, right? He's probably thinking he'll be able to go left or right, and he's keeping those options open. That's exactly what he does. Okay. And then ultimately, as he chooses to go left and just tries to slither in and slither through, I think he actually misses an opportunity to act, maybe to spin from right to left, as he's has so often done. Maybe even just try to here hit the acceleration pedal to go right there, or to get in, outstretch the ball, or something of that sort. Okay, a lot of space there. Here I am criticizing one of the most extraordinary plays, particularly movement skill, coordination, control, and organization in chaos that we would see in the NFL. I'm over here criticizing it, right? No big deal. But I think he actually could have scored here. I think he thinks he's about to score. And he comes up just a little short on that respective play. Let's watch it from another angle here now. See how it unfolds. Talk about, just even look at that, which what we saw before. We see how deep he starts to get as this movement problem, this bigger global movement problem, as the camera spans out, or pans out rather. And now we see him again in the tunnel that we talked about. Remember that affordance, or affordances rather, that I talked about that might exist. Oh, let's call it here, right? And Lamar himself, if I would be a little quicker on the telestrator, we see him moving in that left to right type of action, all in relation to this. Let's look at what Lamar could potentially be looking at, right? And I think because he's dealing with these bits of information, 1, 2, 3, and it's now, this is just in the snapshot, right? And we see it back here with this layer, chaos, okay, that he actually then misses, okay? another opportunity to act, to get back to the middle of the field. Yeah, you got some defenders who could come crashing in on that, right? A bunch of them, in fact, no doubt about it. Okay, but I trust Lamar when it's coming to complex movement problems in him being at a disadvantage, particularly if space starts to close down as it does here in this traffic. Okay. Again, this is in all retrospect. This is hindsight. It's always 2020, right? And I can be over here from afar, joysticking and critiquing Lamar Jackson, even though he's doing things that other people simply cannot. We see it again there, though, that missed affordance that I talked about. Guys and gals, I could watch this and you see that scanning. You see how intertwined and interwoven these perceptions, cognitions, and actions are right here. Watch his head scan. Watch the movement actions left to right. His head keeps turning and looking. It's all so intricate. It's all so nuanced. It's all so layered. Movement skill savant, Lamar Jackson, the genius of him, the highly layered movement skill chess player that is Lamar Jackson. Okay. Let's fast forward. Okay. One more play here. One more play on this deep dive. Let me see where I got to get us. I think I got to get us a little further. In fact, bear with me if you would. We're getting down to the stretch, right? Getting down to stretches 28-28. Fourth quarter now. Under 2 minutes to go. Here we are. Under 2 minutes to go. 2 minute warning has actually passed. 156. Third and goal. It's tied at 28. Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson. Authenticity, one's form of life. You guys know that my theme this year was riding the wave. No better wave rider, no better surfer in today's NFL than Lamar Jackson, number 8, showing off his authenticity in chaos, in the crashing wave, in the complexity, authenticity, and adaptability personified. Lamar Jackson gives us the Curry, the Stephen Curry walk off flip, knows where it's going, knows that this little hop jump pass is going to Rashad Bateman yet again. You see it here now in slow motion from Thursday Night Football. That little pop pass from the jump, pay dirt, and victory, right? So let's look at it slow motion. You see the authenticity. Credit to John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens staff. The reason why I say that is not even so much for the play design, Todd Monken, right? But it's also the entire organization allowing Lamar Jackson to be that one-of-one movement skill snowflake, to be who it is that other people across the league didn't see and didn't probably wouldn't allow him to be. Lamar Jackson ending up in the most perfect fit for himself personally so he could find these types of functional fits to fit the movement problem at play. And we see him having fun, the stylistic flair, the playground mentality, the show stopper and the show maker, right? Lamar Jackson, the reigning NFL MVP from 2023. I'm guessing probably 2024 as well. If not, he is at bare minimum our second two-time mover of the year, putting his stylistic flair upon what he does every single Sunday, on every given snap, on every given play. Here against the Cincinnati Bengals, we saw it yet again, 4 plays now, across situations, across conditions. Dexterity and the essence of it personified in who Lamar Jackson is and how it is that Lamar Jackson solves movement problems time after time after time. So, guys and gals, I'm Sean Mishka, the Movement Miyagi. This is our Mover of the Year deep dive on Lamar Jackson, our 2024 Mover of the Year. If you like what it is that I'm putting down, keep picking it up. Go watch some of the other videos. Hit subscribe. Give me the thumbs up. Comment in the section below. Share it with your people. You guys know the drill. I'll talk to you guys in our next deep